Okay, hi everybody, and welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of Kayra's interview, and I say interview, but it was really more of just a discussion. She did a fantastic job. We actually went longer than I thought we would, which was great. Somewhere up one of these corners here, there's going to be, I haven't quite figured this part out yet, there's going to be a card there. I'm going to link that back to the very first interview. So if you haven't seen the first one, go back and watch that one first. And then I'm just going to let her get to it. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye. I can eat anything now.
Are you able to eat breads okay?
Yeah. Very little. Like when they go to Wawa, they'll get me a little shorty hoagie, and I cut it in half. That's my meal, and then I get the next half. Right, but I mean, that's just that small piece of bread there. But
right.
Yeah, I don't. When I first did it, when I first went on solid food, pork, I could not eat pork at all.
Mine apparently is chicken, because I'm on solid foods now. I tried, it's weird because my stomach, like one day is fine. I can eat whatever I want. The next day I'll eat the same thing, or a variation of the same thing, and it's like, nope. Mine is chicken salad. Like I had, because I went to Publix, I'm like, ooh, chicken salad sounds good. And I had it and I was fine. The next day I was like, and I was taking pitas and cutting them in quarters and just having like a quarter of the pita. And I started to feel like I was getting sick, so I just took the chicken salad out of the pita, and it was the same recipe, same exact, and my stomach wanted no part of it.
Just did not want anything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But then that kind of throws you off of it because you're like, well, I don't want to get sick like that again. So then I haven't tried it since.
Pork, it took me, God, I don't want to say it was about a year before I even tried it again. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Just a piece though.
Yeah.
And when I was okay with it, I'm like, okay, I didn't get sick. So when I didn't get sick that time, I'm like, all right, I'll have a couple more pieces. But so everything settled down after that. So yeah, give it a year and then go back and try it again.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. You know, just maybe like a taste, and if it does okay, then you know you're past that. But yeah, the second time I had it, I mean, I don't even think it got halfway down, and I was like, nope. So.
Did your taste change any? Have you noticed anything? You might be too soon out.
I have noticed some changes. Like I don't crave. Well, sugar to me doesn't taste very good at all, and I know this because my mom, who I live with, who is supportive. However, she's not changing her ways to accommodate me, which is fine. I don't expect anybody else to, but. You know, like when she goes to the store, she buys like carrot cake. She says, I got us a carrot cake. Well, no, you got you a carrot cake.
That's right.
You just got me, you know, more reason to walk out of the kitchen. So the other day she was eating, and I took like a barely a sporkful, you know, like a little bit of frosting and a little bit of cake, just so I could try it. And there was something in the carrot cake that I was just like, this doesn't even taste good. It's not even worth me eating anymore. I don't know if it's like the cinnamon in it or the spice or whatever, but the same thing with chocolate chip cookies. She had a chocolate chip cookie, of course, and I, you know, broke a little piece off, and for some reason I'm like, this just tastes like wood to me. Like it doesn't taste. So I think I've finally broken the sugar cravings and addictions. But as far as food goes, like regular food, I haven't noticed any differences. Other than I feel like I eat healthier now. You know, like like when we go out to eat, like the first thing I look for is like a veggie plate or a salad or something, rather than it's like a burger and fries or, you know, fried chicken. I tend to gravitate more toward that stuff. If my mom and I go out to a restaurant, I usually get, like, she loves seafood. And that was one of the things I'm like, I don't know how this is going to sit down. You know, like seafood is pretty, you know, iffy anyway. And she got this huge platter. It had like, you know, 1.5 pounds of scallops and shrimp and all. I'm like, well, I'm not going to order food because you're going to have leftovers. I'm not going to be able to eat a third of that. So I just basically took like 2 scallops, 2 shrimp, and everything stayed down okay. I was surprised, but we've kind of gotten in that habit too, where she'll order something and I'll either just order a side or like a bowl of soup or something like that and have that, and then I'll just pick off her plate to kind of see what does okay and what doesn't.
Yeah, like saves you a lot of money when you go out.
It does. I told her the same thing. Because she's always like, you know what, why don't you get, I'm like, Mom, there's no way that I'm going to eat that. There's no way. Like, and a lot of the restaurants that we go to, I've noticed too, like if you tell them, hey, I had a bariatric surgery, I can't. They'll do half orders or quarter orders or things like that, so you're not getting as much food and tempted to eat more than you should.
I never thought of that.
So yeah, I actually have a little card.
I do too. I got one of those
that
cards
says I had bariatric
it.
surgery. You know, like it looks like the plate just came out because I've picked, and they come out and they're like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Are you sure there's nothing wrong with the food?" And I'm like, "Nothing's wrong with the food." And then I have to tell them I had bariatric surgery. My stomach's like 80% gone. I have to eat slow. I have to eat really small bites, and I get full faster. And so that's usually when they say, "Oh, well, you should have told us. We'd have done a half order or something." So I just ask now.
Yeah.
I always just say, can you guys do a half order of this, or half a quarter? Obviously eggs. If you usually get 2 eggs in a restaurant, they just cook 1, because I love eggs Benedict. That's like my thing. Yeah. And so when I go out to breakfast, I'm like, can I just have 1 egg Benedict, no English muffin underneath? Which is kind of the whole idea. And they're just kind of looking at me like, that's just a poached egg with ham. I'm like, okay, however you want to order it. And no crispy hash browns, and I usually just eat a few.
Yeah, nice.
Nothing's really, taste-wise hasn't changed, but the sugar, which I'm actually glad, because that was the nail in my coffin every time.
Your personality traits after your surgery
Absolutely changed. I mean, the first time I started losing weight, even before surgery, I think my personality changed, because as someone who's always had, weight has always been an issue for me. Anytime I got on the scale, I was petrified. And honestly, I didn't even own a scale until I started with the New Fit program. The doctor weighs me. He knows what I weigh, and that's all it needs to know. I don't even need to know what I weigh. I don't care. My pants fit, all this. As long as my pants aren't getting too tight and all that, I'm good. And so buying a scale and having to weigh myself every day or every other day was very scary for me, because I thought, I'm not going to like this. And I would actually kind of go into my shell a little bit. And then as soon as that weight started coming off, 2 pounds here, 3 pounds here. And then when I lost the 20 pounds on the 2-week liquid diet, I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Right.
And I feel like I'm more outgoing. I'm more inclined to talk to people that maybe I didn't want to talk to before because I felt intimidated or something like this. Like I said, I'll go to the grocery store now, walk around the grocery store, no problems. Whereas before, it was like, oh, please don't let me run into somebody that I know.
Right.
Because if they see me sitting here, they're going to think, God, she's so fat, she can't even walk around the grocery store. And now it's just, I'm very open about my journey on Facebook to my friends and family. And they've all been really supportive. So, every time I lose weight, I take a picture. I don't particularly see it so much. They see it right away. When I take a picture of my face or, my outfit or something, they're like, oh my God, you look so good. And
right.
So that helps too. So, the more praise and the more support you get, I think the easier it is for you to accept that, I'm doing this. This is,
absolutely.
The funny thing is I actually took 6 weeks after my surgery. So I'm supposed to go back to work Wednesday. We'll do Zoom calls, and I'll sit in on them just because, I don't have to go to the office or anything. And the first time I logged on for a Zoom call, everyone is just like, who is that? Is that Kayra? Oh my God. And I'm just like, do I look that different?
Right.
And it's because I see my face every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, it looks exactly the same as it did.
Yep.
But when you don't see somebody for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you see them all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, you look so different. You look so... A lot of people say, well, don't you get offended when they say that you look better? And I'm like, no, because that's the goal. I want to look better. I want to feel better.
I know, exactly,
I want to be a better person. And that's... When you tell me that just gets me going even more.
That's right.
When I was heavy, everyone always used to say, oh, you have such a pretty face. Or, I love your hair. Or they would never say anything about, oh, your body is banging today or something,
Right.
Not that that's important to me at all. It's more about the health for me. But it's still nice when somebody says, God, I can really tell. Like yesterday I posted on the New Fit page that, I was weighing myself. And, when you weigh, you have to kind of look down.
I remember.
And it was the first time I was like, oh my God, I don't see my belly first. It was like, oh my God.
I laughed so hard. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what that feels like, but that was funny stuff there.
It's amazing, because, usually you kind of have to lean over and look, and it was like, I don't have to lean over, I can see down. But they call those non-scale victories.
Yep.
And for the longest time, I was like, until that number on the scale goes down, you know, you don't realize. You think that you're the same, but it's like my clothes are fitting better. You know, like I said, I'm able to get around better. I feel like I'm, you know, more bubbly and cheerful, and so I have no regrets whatsoever. Even the rough days when I say to myself, like, why did I do this? Because food gets stuck, or, you know, like I can't have pizza when everyone else is having pizza or something like that. It's so worth it, because the 20 minutes that they're eating pizza and I can't is not even comparable to the lifetime of opportunities that I've opened up for myself for having the procedure.
That's right. Yep. Absolutely.
You know, I don't have to worry about fitting on an airplane seat anymore. Or, you know, a friend of mine kept wanting to go to a baseball game over the summer, and I kept telling him no. And it wasn't because I don't love baseball. I do. But I was so afraid I was going to get there and not fit in the seat. You know, because I kept asking him, like, do they have bench seats or separated seats? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, if you want to buy tickets, you have to find out, because I don't want to go. And for people who don't have weight issues, things like that, they don't even think about. You know, like, and he kept saying, why are you so worried about the seats? And I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to be embarrassed. But then finally I was like, because I'm afraid I'm not going to fit in it. And he was like, oh my God, I never thought about that. And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that I don't want to have to think about anymore. You know, I want to be able to just go to a concert and fit in the seat, and, you know, things like that. Theme parks, you know, I can't ride the roller coasters because you can't fit in the seats that click down. Now, you know, as I lose more and more weight, I can ride whatever. And I love roller coasters, always have. Little things, you know, like I really want to go to this baseball game, but, you know, I don't want to be embarrassed in front of a stadium full of people because I can't fit in the seat.
Right. Yep.
Okay, guys, so there it is. There's part 2. Kayra did an amazing job. She was absolutely fantastic. So if you know her, make sure you tell her. Tell her she did a great job. Kayra, you were fantastic. Don't forget, like, all the struggles that you have, even now, there's that support group. There's always people in the support group. And you said you had coworkers that had this done. So you have coworkers that you work with that will help you through any kind of struggles. Don't ever be afraid to ask. You are doing an amazing job. I just want everyone to know that. Appreciate your time and that you shared all that with us. That was some pretty personal stuff there. So everybody else, make sure you tell her what a great job she did. Encourage her, keep her going, and let's keep her on track. Like and subscribe, guys. I'd like to keep this going. I hope more people will volunteer to tell their stories, and we'll see how this goes. All right, so I'll see you next week. Bye.